Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're finally getting into my top 25 of 2025 blind tournament. And today's round, or matchup, is the first one of the whole tournament, and this is the play-in round. This is the 30th to 25th ranked bottles. That one of these will go into Group E as the ranked number 25 bottle. So this is the only matchup that I'm actually going to know the bottles inside of it. The rest will be completely blind. Now I'm going to know the 25 bottles in it, but each round, it's not like I'm going to start at Group A or whatever. It's going to be just random that my wife does for the next 5 videos, and then she's going to be able to manipulate where the bottles are moving to and then do the blinds for me. So I'm going to record this whole thing without editing any of it, so I don't know what's even moving forward. And so we'll get into the bottles today because I know them, so I might as well talk about them a little bit. So the ranked 30th bottle going into this matchup today is the Russell's 13. I scored that at 3.7875. In 29th place with a score of 3.8, just like the next two, is this Dettling Bama Beast pick. Ranked 28th with a same score of 3.8 is the Maker's Mark Cellar Aged. Ranked 27th with 3.8 score is this Onyx in Amber. This is the ADHD Whiskey and Average Drinker YouTube channel collab pick. In 26th place, we have this local pick from Augusta, Buckner's 15, local liquor store pick. Not a buff turkey, but in 25th is a buff turkey bottle from Dark Arts, 16-year-old. I got this at Kentucky Bourbon Festival. This one scored a 3.833. Oh, and the Augusta Buckner's with a score of 3.817. So all of these scored really close to each other. They just happen to be right outside the top 24, basically, because technically this is 25. So we'll see how the blind goes today. And the winner of this goes into Group E. Okay, let's get into the blind. So the nose on A. My wife poured a lot more than usual because she went to bed and she goes, if you need more, don't wake me up. So I think she just filled these up just in case. Maybe she saw the video of me spilling all the glasses. Actually, I remember that because this was a notebook it fell on, and you know, it's dry because this is now several days, but this is all wrinkly kind of from the nice whiskey. Okay, so I know I usually cut all that stuff out, and I will. Obviously, didn't see like a bunch of minutes of me just nosing this glass, but I'm taking this way more serious than usual. So I was trying to get as many notes as possible. I remembered when I did a tour of, I think, Old Forester, and you kind of did a tasting there. She was talking about like how you can nose different stuff if you put your nose at the bottom of the glen or compared to like on top of the glen. So like that tricked in my head, and I was doing that. But this Glass A is much darker profile. There is some sweetness there. A lot of it's like a nutty walnut, toasty char, a little bit of a sourness note. Good nose. Let's go to B. Okay, so B on the nose is way more intense than A, but still in the darker realm. More intense, woody, a nice wood spice note. And then I started getting sweetness, kept following this rabbit hole, and pecan pie with marshmallow. I was getting the pecan pie, marshmallow sweetness. I definitely like B's nose more than A's. Go to C on the nose. Okay. I guess I should have expected this because this is, you know, some of the best bourbons I've had all year. You know, I like a lot of different things, and these are all just all over the place. C is, I wrote dark. These were already in the dark realm. This is just like, oh, let me show you what dark really is. Earthy, Tootsie Roll, chocolate raisin, funkiness, espresso, like coffee, crafty, like slight craftiness. And I was getting this spice note, but it's not like the baking spices you usually get like on bourbons. It was like a jalapeno spice, like that type of spice. That is a unique and different nose for sure. Let's go to D. Okay, so I reset my nose because I went to D and I was basically getting nothing. So I was like, okay, let me take a second, and after C's craziness. So D, red fruit, light, sweet, peanutty, peanut butter, sourness, toasted marshmallow. So definitely different than the first three. Still good. All the noses have been good. Nothing bad. It's just all over the place. Let's go to E. Man, the nose on E was all over the place. I thought it was, again, it was more the dark profile, molasses, brown sugar, dark cherry, maple syrup. And then I started getting like more rye focused notes, rye, herbally. And then I was getting like artificial sugar, and I was trying to think of the candy as a kid, and I'm pretty sure it's called Pixie Sticks. Could be a little wrong, but it was basically like the sugar candy in the little sticks, and you know, kids would maybe snort them up their nose sometimes. But you basically just are eating sugar right off like a little straw thing. So that I was getting those notes. But yeah, I still get a decent amount of like a herbally note. Let's go to F. All right, so F seems more like straight down the middle bourbon, but again, still on the darker side. Dark red fruit, cinnamon, oak, sweet, slight herbal, just kind of like E, and some vanilla. All right, let's get into my favorite part, the palates. Well, that was a great first sip of the day. So on the palate, pear, green apple, sweet vanilla oak. On the finish, nutty oak, sweet marshmallow. Definitely lighter on the palate and finish than on the nose, but good. But it's also the first sip of the day. Good thing I have plenty of whiskey in these glasses. I can drink this all day today. Almost grabbed glass B. Oopsie. Man, that is so good. And I feel like I'm going to say that a lot during the next couple of weeks. All right. So an interesting note, I guess, I was getting a tropical fruits and some spice. And basically in my head, it like clicked. The tahini salt, or I guess it is. I don't know. The stuff they put around like the rims, like margaritas or whatever. That on grilled pineapple. I've never had that combination in my life that I'm aware of anyways, unless it was on like, unless the pineapple was on the rim of like a margarita and so was a tahini, and I ate that. I guess that is a possibility of that happening. And on the finish, some smokiness and vanilla. This is delicious. One more sip. Man, that is such a crushable bottle. That is so tasty. I got some mango on the palate this time. I said it the second time, the smokiness. It is such a unique and just enjoyable smokiness on the finish with so much sweetness around it. Man, it's like that. This is a whole experience like you're on like a tropical resort and they're like grilling some pineapples right there next to the bar. You're drinking like a margarita or something like that, but in whiskey form. that is just on some like bringing me just a good vibe on that glass. All right, let's go to B. All right, so B is way more of your traditional bourbon profile, and I wrote dark, but it might be just coming off of the tropical bomb that is A. But dark oak, wood, spice, more of that traditional like baking spices direction. Brown sugar, vanilla, sweet. On the finish, peanut butter on toast, oak, and nutty. Just doesn't have the wow factor like A did. But first sip coming off of A, so hopefully the second sip coming off of itself would show more of itself in this sip. That finish is a little bit lighter than I would want out of this. More of the same. So overall decent for sure. Not wowing me right now. Third sip. So it didn't change too much from the first sip. I did get some dark chocolate on the finish this time. Overall, it's really good. Getting a little hazelnut now on the linger. So it's overall, again, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I don't think I'm going to be bashing any of the bottles over the next few videos. I don't expect that. Imagine. You're the one that put this list together. I know. Let's go to C. Well, that was a roller coaster of dark flavors. Kind of like on the nose where I said dark. On the palate, it's dark. This is like maybe one of the darkest profiles I can remember. It does have a good amount of craftiness and earthiness. Espresso, leather, tobacco, dark fruits, all like in that dark realm. Slight herbaliness. On the finish, funky, dank, sweet, espresso, tobacco. There is a good amount of like coffee espresso notes on the lingering on the finish with some chocolate, milk chocolate. It's almost like if you had some kind of coffee and like mocha type thing, which if you know me, that's how I drink my coffee. It's gotta have chocolate in it. I'm that guy. But that's not even true because in Portugal we drink the espressos in little tiny little cups. Whatever. I just drink whatever's in front of me. Let's go to, or C on the second sip. Man, this is a whole vibe too. I didn't write any new notes. Oh man, I was trying to get new notes, but how glass A was like I'm on a tropical resort. C, I'm in a like cigar lounge or a place I can smoke cigars. which is go with Cigar Lounge, that has a nice espresso machine, and they're making some nice coffees, and it's like dimly lit, like one of those like old school leather seats everywhere. Oh man, but man, the linger is a nice like chocolatey note, which kind of is different than the rest. Right when you get to the finish, there is a good amount of dankness and funkiness, which that note I could definitely see it being off-putting for people. It's quickly taken over by the sweetness and the espresso, then that chocolate note. Third sip. The only new note I wrote was on the finish, a little spice. And what I will say is that this is a whole vibe. The couple things that kind of like, one, you have to like that profile. And two, there's even within that profile, there's a couple notes that kind of bring it down a little bit for me. So like the herbliness on the palate, bring it down a little bit for me. And that funky dank note on the finish kind of bring it down a little bit for me. But overall, what an experience that C brings to the table. And maybe you could even say that those notes that I'm saying are bringing it down just give it more complexity, which, you know, I can argue that too. I love that milk chocolate note at the end though. All right, let's go to D. Interesting. Okay, so glass D, the finish kind of went pretty quick, and it's very different than C, which off the nose I expected. On the palate, sweet, red fruit, green grape, a little spice. On the finish, oak, sweet, light, marshmallow. But the finish isn't fully there, meaning like it's not saying that like it dropped off, it's just very light. But first sip, we'll see how the second sip. Usually I find over the past year doing these videos and really analyzing everything that I'm doing is that the first finish is usually the worst out of the three, and the finish kind of builds on top of each other. All right, so second sip, more of the same from the first sip. I got a little more oak on the palate, a slight herbal note on the finish, which I don't usually say herbal notes on bourbons as much as I said it a few times, that's why I'm noticing it. So I don't know. Again, day to day, what you ate earlier in the day and stuff like that always impact. And this is why I do this tournament based off of the average of all the scoring throughout the whole year, because obviously I'm blinding them at all different points versus different things. And you know, a lot of you guys say, you know, it's a very in-depth and fair way to do it. I think so too. I think how I do my top 25, my top, you know, 5 bottles, bourbons, whatever of the year, I'm putting a lot of data tastings behind it to kind of get to that point, and most of it's blind, so I'm trying to take away the bias. One more sip. I will say that was my favorite sip on glass D. I got way more like caramelization, like burnt caramel, but not burnt. On the palate, on the finish, maple sugar, maple syrup. I knew when I wrote maple sugar, I was like, that's not right. I'm here to correct myself, don't worry. You don't have to yell at your screen. I'm yelling at myself. So a lot more sweetness. It is very good. A and C have been crazy off the wall bottles. B and D are very good bourbons. They don't have like the wow factors like A and C. I don't know if that's where I'm kind of leaning towards this today, is looking for the wow factor, but they've all been good. Okay, let's go to E. And man, that one is also very crushable. It is sweet. Man, that is sweet. Oak, spice, vanilla, green Jolly Rancher, sourness. I hate earthiness. It wasn't fully hay, it wasn't fully earthy. Combination of those two. Sweet, strawberry on the finish. Oak, vanilla fudge, sweet. Like that finish is just like a vanilla fudge with oak sweetness. Slight nuttiness. Man, that is super tasty. All right, second sip. Still freaking good. Wow. Okay, so on the palate, I got a couple of new notes. Red fruit, nutty, walnuts specifically. On the finish, I didn't get anything new. And that's maybe where it's this one and maybe get some points deducted. The palate's very complex. On the finish is not very complex, but man, the finish is just delicious. Overall, it's a very complex pour. And I don't know what the proof is on it. It doesn't taste proofy, but there's a solid undertone of just power. I don't know. I've definitely never said that before. whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to explain here, but it's not spicy on the tongue at all for me. I don't get really the Kentucky hug that a lot of people get. I get more of the spice right on the tongue, and I'm not getting any of that. And all of these are pretty up there in proof, especially a couple of them for sure. It's just so drinkable, enjoyable. Whip. Third sip. Of course, immediately after I say that, the bourbon hears me and it's like, oh, you don't feel proof? Let me show you. So I definitely got some of that proof spice on the tongue. More of in like a cinnamon type note. Again, the finish, not over complex, but still very tasty. I really enjoy that. Ooh boy. Let's go to F. So this one, I definitely get some of that proof on the tongue. I didn't get crazy notes on this, but this one gave me all that kind of like elevated pour feel. So the oak, vanilla, very rich. I wrote elevated. In my head, it's hard to explain that type of experience, but something that is just tastier. I don't know. Maybe you understand what I'm trying to say here. On the finish, oak, vanilla, rich, red fruit. Definitely one I need a second sip on because obviously I didn't write a lot of notes on it. It was just a more elevated experience. And I've gotten this on a couple other bottles this year, like the Jim Beam lineage when I did the whole Jim Beam 6 allocated bottle review. It just, certain bottles just come off richer in profile and taste. And that's what this one like right immediately kind of made me think of. So try to get some better notes this time. This is the type of pour I absolutely love. Overall, not crazy complex, but just so rich. But red fruits, jammy, like dark jammy. Not, I know I just said red fruits, but it was more the dark jammy. Nutty, the proof spice was definitely building. Red Jolly Rancher, so it gave some sweetness to that rich profile. The finish is just perfect. Man, red fruit. I don't know, I'm not sure if I wrote down the first time or second time, but it's towards the end. It's the end of the line, so I'm sure I wrote it the first time. I don't remember getting anything new on the finish, but man, what's there is so good. This is the problem. One more sip. Okay, so on the third sip, I will say that the proof kind of hurts this bottle because the proof starts building up to the point where like you're, you know, for me, I'm trying to get notes for you guys, right? Once that proof starts getting too strong, like I basically have to, like my body is telling me like, you swallow, you know what I mean? The fact that the proof is kind of like pushing me to get to the finish kind of hinders the palate portion. But the finish, I did get a couple new notes, dark fruits, sweetness. Overall though, I really enjoy glass F. So we'll see how this goes, because now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little pause here, drink some water. I gotta A/B these back and forth. You know, I kind of have two that are kind of the bottom, but then I have four that are uniquely different from each other, and I have to figure out which one I'm moving forward, which is now stressful for my life. We'll be right back with some results, I guess. All right, that took way too long, and I actually don't cut off my camera or microphone so I don't mess anything up when I go back and forth, and this is already over an hour and a half of footage, which I hope I can cut down to like 20-ish minutes. We'll see. We'll all find out together, I guess. So I'm going back and forth, and a lot of today had to do with kind of the mix of what am I enjoying the most and what I think will be the most successful in the tournament. That was kind of playing into it for sure, because I don't want to put something that's going to go forward and just get destroyed in the next round. I don't know. We'll talk about it, like I guess bottle to bottle when we get into it. So we are doing giveaways in this tournament, and so we'll do, again, this is going to be a 1 ounce sample throughout the tournament instead of the 2 ounce samples I usually do, because one of these has a chance to be in 4 different videos. So to enter to win an ounce sample of all 6 of these, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are really close to 2,000 subscribers. I don't know by the point that when this video comes out, if I'm at 2,000 yet or not, but I'm really close. So let's get there. Let's get to 5,000, whatever. I don't really put goals out there, but you know, subscribe to the channel. So, because if you don't subscribe to the channel and you don't really basically watch the channel, you're not gonna know if you won because I'm gonna announce all the winners of the tournament giveaways at like a recap video at the very, very end. because I'm recording all these in advance. I'm trying to anyways, we'll see. Fingers crossed. So again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with play in one. We're just gonna throw one out there so I can have a clue on this is the first episode of the thing. Because I feel like it's gonna get confusing once I get into all these videos. PLAYIN, the number 1. All right, so let's get into this. In last place, what was last place? At this point, I don't remember. Was the Russell's Reserve 13-year. Man, I could not believe that came in last place. Trying to see if I underlined anything or wrote any new notes. I didn't. I know that was one of the first bottles. Going through it, it was on the bottom tier. When I go back and forth, I usually go back to the bottom tier ones first, kind of see if they're now better. So the Russell Reserve 13 from this year, it's still a great bottle. None of the bottles in like this 6 right here could easily be someone's top 6 bourbons of the year, in my opinion, right? These are fantastic bottles. It's not a knock to anything. If this is your favorite thing this year, awesome. You're not gonna get any arguments from me, okay? These are all fantastic bourbons. But I scored a 3.6 today. Again, I'm comparing them against each other basically. So it came in last place. In 5th place, the other legacy bottle, the Cellar Age from Maker's Mark. I wrote vanilla on the finish. So one new note there. I will say when I was kind of going back and forth, kind of looking at the bottles on the table, and I was like, oh man, there's 2 legacies here. There's a couple NDPs here, and there's one craft distillery, Dettling. This is their own juice. That's not Dettling. This one's Dettling. You know, I should know better because it's got sparkly freaking wax over here, which is fantastic. This is sourced from MGP. This is sourced Buff Turkey. This is sourced, we can't say, but I'm gonna guess Heaven Hill. You got 2 legacy distilleries, sourced from a legacy distillery, sourced from legacy distillery, sourced from legacy distillery, and 1 craft. So I was kind of like looking at that kind of stuff, like thinking about it when I was going back and forth. I don't know if I told you the score on the Maker's Mark, but the Maker's Mark was a 3.75. I'm pretty sure I did not do that. Okay, now we get into 4th place, and that's actually the Buff Turkey, my 1 Buff Turkey of the year of Buff Turkey. And I do expect more Buff Turkeys to hit the market this year as 17-year-old Buff Turkeys. We'll see. I felt like I already seen one, and I feel like there's gonna be a couple more because they're just gonna keep getting all our money. I scored at 3.9. The reason I underlined this is why I was like, I'm looking for certain things. I underlined that hay earthiness note, and that was getting more of that on the palate on the Buff Turkey bottle. And that's kind of what brought it down a little bit. Okay, now we got down to the top 3. In 3rd place is my Tropical Oasis bottle. I absolutely love this bottle. Man, if you have this bottle, please comment if you get those tropical notes. I got bubblegum this time. I'm over looking at my notes. I got bubblegum on the palate. It is just a crushable bottle. It is so tasty. I absolutely love this bottle. Okay, then it came down to 2. What were the 2? It was the Buckner's 15-year-old, the Dettling. Okay, so the craft one I was talking about 2 seconds ago. And the winner is, what is the winner? The Dettling. Oh shit. All right. So the Dettling won this Bama Beast. This is a pick. I think a couple groups. The SOC OBG 5-star liquor and wine Bama Beast Dettling pick. Absolutely a specific profile. I don't think it's gonna be for everyone. It is just so tasty. And I did get more cola notes, which is a darker profile note, which this one's 100% that dark profile. And we'll see kind of how it does in the tournament. I am kind of happy that this one won, only because it's a craft distillery. They're doing their own stuff, so it kind of puts another craft distillery into the tournament as opposed to like basically legacy juice. I do like that aspect of it. But this Buckner's 15-year, it's a Conti's pick. Again, I'm pretty sure it's Heaven Hill juice. Scored a 4.1, and the thing that it was literally a debate in when I was going back and forth between these two. These two were so close. And if I didn't say scores, my apologies, because I don't think I did. The Dettling got a 4.2. The Buckner's 15 got a 4.1, so really close. The thing that was kind of holding back the Augusta Buckner's 15 year was the proof, which the people that know me in my life would be like, shut the heck up. Because I'm all about like, give me as much proof as possible. But you know, going back and forth, the proof was kind of lowering the enjoyment on the 15-year-old Buckners over here. Which, you know, what is happening right now? Am I getting old? Is that what's happening? The Dettling is fantastical. It is a whole different vibe. I absolutely love it. So I'm happy that the Dettling got into Group E as ranked number 25. Now, will it pass that group? Who knows? Tune in, because the rest of the tournament is coming. Keep watching the tournament. We now have our 25th ranked bottle, the Dettling, into Group E. We'll see how it does. If this is the darling of the whole tournament. Enjoy the tournament. I'm about to record. I'm not gonna record. This is why I said this earlier in another video at some point. I said how I'm gonna record one of these a day, because let me tell you, after this blind, I'm done. I feel nice and pretty. I'm not gonna record another video today. I'll record the next blind, whatever it is, tomorrow, and we'll try to get all this done without me knowing what's in it, besides 25th now. So don't do nothing stupid, and if you do, don't get caught. Bye.